Hello, everybody. We are now in week 5 of the fall 2019 semester. So this week, there's really 4 things for you to do. This will be the week that we close out the Romantic era, which means this will also be the last week we're in Volume D of the textbook. So we'll start Volume E next week when we get to the Victorians. So we're going to finish out the Romantics this week. And in addition to your quiz, which is a short answer quiz like they've all been, and your response paper, you also are going to have to do the Romanticism exam this week, and you have to do it this week. It's not that hard. I've got a study guide for you in the week 5 folder. So pull out that study guide, get familiar with all those terms, get familiar with all those writers, get familiar with everything in there, and then know that the way that the exam is set up, there's 2 parts. One is the general knowledge about the time period and about the authors and so on. And then the other part is direct quotes. And some of these direct quotes are pointed out to you in the slideshows. Some of these direct quotes are pointed out to you in the quizzes. So you should be able to do well on this exam. And it is open book, just like the quizzes are. So make sure you get that exam done as well. I also want you to pay very close attention to the way that this week's response is set up. It's a compare-contrast essay. I want you to compare the early Romantics, and those two are going to be William Wordsworth and Samuel Taylor Coleridge, with the late Romantics that you're going to read this week. And those 2 gentlemen are Percy Bysshe Shelley and Lord Byron. So note I've got a hint in there on how to address this. So for Wordsworth, while he thought that nature provided everything that we needed to survive and nature was beautiful and God was in nature, Shelley was an atheist. So he actually thought that nature was indifferent to mankind, that nature was a powerful force. It was a strong force. It's still a beautiful force, but it's strong in its fury and its power. And so you can look at Mont Blanc and things like, the earthquake demon teaching her children how to destroy and things like that. Mont Blanc is also about imagination and about how the mind works, and he compares it to water, and you'll see what I mean when you read it. So there's a couple things to look at there. And then the other part of the response for this week, remember we read Rime of the Ancient Mariner by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Now what we're going to read is one canto. And notice that you don't have to read all of Byron. Just like last week you didn't have to read all of Wollstonecraft. Read that one canto from Don Juan, which many people pronounce Don Juan, but it's Don Juan, and it is kind of it's an adventure story on a boat as well, but it's also a love story, and that's not something you get out of Rime of the Ancient Mariner. So that's how I would approach that, and of course your directions for the actual response essay actually say to do it that way. So don't forget to read the 4 poems, 2 by Shelley and 2 by Byron, and then take the reading quiz, do your response paper, and most importantly, because it's worth, I think, 15% of your grade or 20% of your grade, don't forget to take the Romanticism exam. So study for and take it. So that's it this week. If you have any questions for me again, feel free to email me, and I'll answer your questions as best I can.